Yeah, I have to be honest with y'all. I am actually getting very nervous about Jamar Chase. We'll talk about him in 1 second. But first, we need to make sure that we are getting in the best tournament on Underdog, the Flock Community Contest. Obviously, as we've said, these are happening every Monday and Thursday. It's a $10 buy-in, $44,000 prize pool. Let's go ahead and get in here. And of course, if you want to get in the Flock tournament with us, you know you can do so on Underdog. There's still a bunch of spots open in this draft if anybody is here that wants to get in. Jalen asking, how many more drafts are we going to be doing this year? I'm still going to be live streaming drafts every single night, and I'm going to be doing drafts the Thursday before NFL kickoff. So we're going to be doing a bunch of course, Underdog just trolling us at this point, hitting us with pick number 9 yet again. It's absurd. But anyway, we will be doing drafts tonight, tomorrow nights, Wednesday nights, and the Thursday before kickoff. It is very sad that they are coming to a close, but very happy that obviously the season is here. But the quote that Zach Taylor gave today about Jamar Chase. Here's from Adam Schefter. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor on whether wide receiver Jamar Chase will play on Sunday versus the Patriots. Quote unquote, we'll just take it day by day. I put out my week 1 wide receiver rankings today on the channel. I am planning on submitting my starting lineup in the Flock League with Jamar Chase in it. If Chase doesn't play, your boy is screwed. I will say that much. Michael says in his Underdog draft, Chase fell to him at pick 9. If Chase falls to me at 9, I will be taking Jamar Chase. I'll tell you that real quick. And let me explain, of course, if anybody's new to the Flock tournament, this is a tournament that's 1 out of the 12 teams you are drafting in this league is going to advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament. You advance to the fantasy football playoff tournament. And in week 15, you have a head-to-head matchup against somebody else who advanced. And then if you win that, in week 16, you have another head-to-head matchup against somebody else who advanced. And then in week 17, you have a 100-person final. So I really like it. Y'all in the live chat helped me come up with the structure of this Flock tournament on Underdog. So yeah, it's only a 3 max though. You can only draft 3 teams per tournament. This is the 10th Flock tournament we've had. Jefferson goes 6. Chase makes it down to pick 7. Now, we will take A.J. Brown. Very boring. Obviously, y'all have seen 1,000 of these drafts where we've had pick 9. And we have gone with A.J. Brown. Mean Mugging coming out says, Mason, how in the world have you and Underdog released 10 different Flock community tournaments? That's insane. It is insane. I'm going to make sure, I don't want to say I'm going to make sure it happens, but I'm definitely going to ask Underdog if we can get another one going Thursday and just release it earlier. Because I think usually we're releasing them every day at 8 p.m. Eastern. But I'm going to ask if we can release it at like 5 p.m. Eastern. That way we can make sure we fill it. Okay, so after we take A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua both go immediately after. So it looks like a very standard Underdog draft at this point. Doesn't look like there have been any really crazy picks so far. Okay. Let's move this down. Taylor off at 13. Barkley goes. So let's see what Parilla does. They took Garrett Wilson in round 1. If they give me the option, more likely than not, I will go with Jahmyr Gibbs, but they take Gibbs. So instead, we will just take Drake London here at 16. I know London kind of feels gross here in round 2. I agree with you. But I think you can kind of say the same thing about Nico Collins. I think you can say the same thing about Deebo Samuel. I think you can say the same thing about pretty much any of these receivers in round 2. You can say the same thing about Jalen Waddle. It's a big flat tier. It's disgusting. That's why I was really hoping we were going to get someone like Jahmyr Gibbs here at 16, but it is what it is. Chase asking when the new website update launches. So I was in and out of calls with the developers all day today. They're working their butts off to try to get it out for everybody. So flockfantasy.com, the overall redesign for the creators on the developer side of things so we can test out all the bugs and make sure there's going to be nothing that y'all have to deal with. It's going to drop tomorrow. And then we're going to spend all day tomorrow testing all the bugs and fixing any bugs that we find. And then for y'all, the new and improved flockfantasy.com will drop on Wednesday. Now, like I said, obviously flockfantasy.com still works as intended. This is just an overarching redesign where the site will actually look like it was built in 2024, not built in 2014. So I'm so damn excited for y'all to check out flockfantasy.com when we launch the new one. And of course, I will keep you updated with that. But the team at 1 goes with Rashee Rice and Mahomes at pick 24 and 25 for the unique CMC combo. And of course, this flock tournament just dropped today, so you don't have to worry about where Rashee Rice was taken months ago. And of course, also, if you wanted to join an underdog draft with us, if you want to get in one of these flock tournaments, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section, in the live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you are going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you will be getting my 2024 fantasy football rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheet. And for week 1, Underdog is pushing out a ridiculous amount of promos. You have a site-wide Travis Kelce special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night, and an exclusive Flock special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for Monday night as well. So make sure you take advantage of that. That's definitely the best place to do so. Mira coming out with the donation. Thank you. Omar, welcome to being a member of the Flock. And Omar says, where do you answer questions? All questions get answered through flockfantasy.com, my friend. Everything's going to get answered through flockfantasy.com. Right now, I'm doing it with personal podcasts, just directly messaging it to people who submit questions and purchase team reviews. During the season, I'll be doing it on the live stream. Now, I am not going to complain about pick 9 at all if we get somebody like Kyren Williams making it to us at 33. Going A.J. Brown, Drake London, Kyren Williams, I really like this start. Obviously, Kyren is a player that has been falling, but it is what it is. It is what it is. A-Rod says, Carb Muffin getting weird with it. Love to see it. Yeah, if you were going to take Rashee Rice and Mahomes there with a CMC build, definitely makes sense to do so in the Flock tournament since it is a new tournament today, and you don't have to worry about the previous ADPs just having so much more value on you. Okay. Now, Mike Evans goes there at pick 34. Stephon Diggs immediately after. Okay. Milo says, Mason, are you going to be drafting the week 1 tourneys like Battle Royale, etc.? Yeah, so just in case you don't know, Underdog does have tournaments that happen every single week as well, not just the season-long ones. I may get in a few off the live stream if I get bored and I'm like on the bike trying to find something to do, but I'm not going to be doing the week 1 tournaments or the week-to-week tournaments on the live stream. On the live stream, I'll just be answering fantasy football questions on flockfantasy.com. So Josh Allen off the board at 39. This is going to give us the option to go between Pittman or Laporta. I'm going to take somebody that I've taken absolutely nonstop here in Sam Laporta. I'm sure over the past few live streams, you've seen me getting stuck having to take Michael Pittman Jr. here at pick 40, but that's when we decided to go with a running back in round 2. So we were kind of playing catch up at wide receiver. Since we start this draft off with A.J. Brown, Drake London, I think that we are in a fine spot to just take the falling value of Kyren Williams and Sam Laporta there at the 3-4 turn, which I know I complain about getting pick 9 in every single draft. It's because I pretty much get pick 9 in every single draft. It is not the most fun thing in the world, but if you told me I'm going to be able to get Kyren at 33 and Laporta at pick 40, there I wouldn't complain. I would just go ahead. I would be fine with pick 9. I'll take pick 9 every single chance I get if you're going to give me Kyren Williams at 33 and Sam Laporta at pick 40. Okay. Let's move this over. Teresa says, this is the winning team already. I'm feeling good. And what I'm really hoping for is I would love to win a flock tournament. I know y'all probably would like to win it, but I don't know. I would just like to be able to run the flock tournament back next year and go, as y'all know, I won the Flock tournament. I won the Flock tournament 10 last season. Would be really nice. Rated R Savior says, can you only ask questions if you're a subscriber? No, on flockfantasy.com, you don't have to be a paid subscriber to submit a start set question, trade question, or a roster review. But if you are a paid subscriber to flockfantasy.com, any questions you do submit, you do get a discount for. So especially when you make an account, make sure you use promo code FLOCK. That way you would get 30% off any subscription. And if you do have a subscription, then you get 30% off any questions you ask me as well. Okay. Now, you have Jalen Hurts making it down to pick 50. I know that does kind of seem crazy, but what Soups probably did there at pick 47 is they just realized that Carr Muffin decided to take Mahomes at 25. So Muffin probably couldn't take Jalen Hurts at 48 or 49. So they were just in a safe spot to take Jalen Hurts on the way back around at pick 50. So that does make sense. But also interesting to point out that the team at 5 through the first 5 rounds only has one wide receiver, being Cooper Kupp. Okay. We are going to take Christian Kirk here. It's a boring selection. Kirk used to go in the 4th round of these underdog drafts, and he is one of my least drafted players in all of drafts because of so. He's fallen a lot, though. I will say, for the love of God, never even think about taking Christian Kirk over the running backs here or someone like Mark Andrews in your regular fantasy football league, because in your regular fantasy football league, wide receiver depth doesn't really matter. But here specifically on Underdog, it does. It's going to be very hard to find later. So you kind of have to make some of these disgusting decisions and taking Kirk at 57. Okay, Keenan Allen goes 61. And I do have to brag with y'all. I did have the best pizza in the world today for dinner. I don't know if this place is a chain or it's just like in Austin, but they have a bunch of different locations in Austin, so I'm assuming it's a chain. Have y'all heard of Via 313? Via 313, have you heard of it? Is it where you're from? Is this a chain or is this an Austin thing? I don't know. Okay, Kenneth Walker off the board at 62. That team at 12 goes Pitts, Keenan. So we are going to make probably the boring decision to take Chris Godwin at 64 and just make sure we get another wide receiver before the teardrop happens. Okay. Horchado says, yeah, your girlfriend introduced it to me. That is so nice that your mom took you to it, my friend. I literally was telling her the other night, hey, I know he's annoying. I know Horchado does bother you all the time, but he is your son. You take him to get some good pizza. I gave her $20, sent her on her way. I figured she wasn't going to actually take you because you are a little bit of a pain in the butt. But anyway, I'm happy that you actually got to go out with her that night, because obviously I was busy. But anyway, Gateway Lacrosse coming out says, 10T PPR 2 receiver, single flex. We have Richardson, CMC, Hall, Nico, London, Adams, Kakay, Javonte, Rico, Brooks, Watson, Brian Thomas Jr., Polk, Palmer, Daniels. I think you're in a great spot. Anthony Richardson's kind of like a borderline. If you didn't want to have to roster a backup quarterback, you wouldn't have to. But Jane Daniels has so much rushing upside. I don't fault you at all for doing so. And yeah, it just looks like a monstrous team. Any team that has Christian McCaffrey and Breece Hall on it is nuts, my guy. Is nuts. But we got the Fantasy Stock Exchange coming on through. I'm assuming that's Danny. Happy to see you, my friend. Happy to see you. Andrew says, Mason, stop eating Horchado's fruit snacks after his bedtime. You kind of got to establish dominance. What I do to Horchado is the lady and I send him to bed. Then I obviously eat the fruit snacks. And when she goes to the bathroom or something, I run over to his bedroom and I slide the fruit snack wrappers under his door just to know what's going up. Okay. Let's move this over. Joe says, just got married, Mason. Let's go. Congrats, my friend. Can we get everybody in the chat saying congrats, Joe? Congrats, Joe. That's awesome. Tanner says, any Dynasty content coming soon? I know I've been slacking on the Dynasty channel. I am very sorry. I'm just working my butt off with the developers, trying to make sure that everything is set up for everybody with flockfantasy.com. So I'm sorry, my friend. but we are kind of playing catch up here. Catch up, making sure that everything's going to go with the site by the time football season gets here. Sir Yeti says, it should have been me in that dress. That's hilarious. Okay, let's move it over. Keon Coleman off the board at 77. Let's move this back. At 81, we will have a lot of flexibility here because we did go Christian Kirk and Chris Godwin with our last 2 picks. So if we wanted to go running back here, we are more than able to. Kyler goes, so we are just going to take Najee Harris as our running back 2 at pick 81. Najee's less exciting than he was previously when you thought there was a potential that you ended up getting some missed time from Jalen Warren. But still, I mean, Najee Harris at 81 is an okay pick. But Benny says, I'm dieting, so I buy cauliflower pizza from the store. 650 calories for the whole pizza and grilled chicken, slice it up, put it on the pizza with sugar-free barbecue sauce. I will say chicken pizza is top tier. Barbecue chicken pizza, barbecue chicken ranch, immaculate. Buffalo chicken pizza, immaculate. Any chance I get where you can get like a specialty pizza, that pizza better have chicken on it. There's nothing better. But I know we're rambling here, but I literally just have to talk about this. The pizza I got tonight from Via 313 was jalapeno popper pizza, which I had no idea if this was going to be any good or not. What's the report with Addison? Looks limited in practice. Was spotted warming up during the portion of Monday's practice open to the media. Addison appears to be practicing without a helmet. Ugh. We will take Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, we just traded for Ramondre Stevenson from Danny in the Flock League. And yeah, Danny says Chad isn't ready for the banger new episode in the Flock League after week 1. I am probably going to record my first clip for week 1 tomorrow walking the dog. I got to get some thoughts out about Jamar Chase. I'm feeling a little stressed, but I'm excited. But yeah, anyway, jalapeno popper pizza. Instead of having pizza sauce on it, it had cream cheese. It had jalapenos all over it. It had hot honey sriracha on top. Like just like a honey, but a little bit spicy. Oh, it was so good. You couldn't even believe it. I rolled the dice. I had no idea what it was going to be like. Whenever I went to order pizza, it said there was like, oh, limited availability, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, well, I'm a sucker. I'll try it. And, oh my gosh, it was the best thing I've ever had. Okay. Jonathan says, I don't know if cream cheese pizza is the move. My friend, if I were you, I'd try it. Jay says, my cholesterol just went up and I love it. Yeah, I will have to go on a very long run tomorrow. Yesterday, I ran 14 miles. Today, I got in about 5 and then lifted. Tomorrow, I'll probably have to put in 15 because I also have to lose a few pounds and get ready for the ultra marathon. So would be better to be a little light on my feet, but God, I needed some pizza. It sounded so good. Okay. Chase says dark horses for top 5 and bottom 5 offenses. So top 5 offense, dark horses. Let me pull up the implied team totals through the course of the entire season, get a sense of what we could potentially be looking at, because I don't want to give you what I would think would be a dark horse offense and all of a sudden I'm way off. So dark horse top 5 offense. Jacksonville right now is, according to Las Vegas Sportsbooks, currently the 16th highest projected offense. So Jacksonville's supposed to be dead middle in the league in terms of total points scored this season. I think Jacksonville could potentially be inside the top 5. There is a world where maybe Trevor Lawrence was just limited in the second half due to the ankle injury. I think another potential dark horse top 5, Arizona, currently is projected to be the 20th highest scoring offense in the NFL. I think that could be something that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to grab a quarterback here. I think we take Daniels. I understand that Daniels here at 105 probably seems weird to take over Dak Prescott, but this is strictly based off, we don't have any of the Dallas Cowboys stacks. Dak's not going to run the ball a ton where Daniels can. So I'm fine having an unstacked Daniels in comparison to an unstacked Dak. But yeah, a couple dark horses teams to be inside the top 5, I would go Jacksonville and Arizona. And a couple dark horse teams to be inside the bottom 5. If it wasn't for Penix being a backup to Cousins, I would maybe throw Atlanta there. But I think if Cousins isn't recovered really from the Achilles and you possibly have him struggling a bit, then they could throw in Penix, and I think it saves it from being a bottom 5 team. The Jets don't kind of have that backup where if Rodgers is in his 40s coming off the torn Achilles, I'm not expecting this to be the case, but I think there is a possibility that Rodgers is toast. I'm not expecting that. I'm still drafting the Jets. But I'm going to take Zach Moss here as our 4th running back. So now wide receiver, we're sitting with A.J. Brown, Drake London, Christian Kirk, Chris Godwin. Running back, we have Kyron, Najee, Ramadre, Moss. Tight end, we have Laporta. Quarterback, we have Daniels. Another dark horse offense to be inside the bottom 5. I'm not expecting them to be. I am drafting the Bears. I have DeAndre Swift in the Flock League. I'm really hoping they're solid. But there is an outside chance, obviously, whenever you have a rookie quarterback, that maybe that rookie quarterback isn't as good as what people are expecting. So maybe you potentially have the Chicago Bears disappointing to be inside the bottom 5. Like I said, not expecting it, but Mike Slice, welcome to being a member of the flock, my friend. Danny says, Mason, next year in Texas, we need to orchestrate a team time for draft order, in my honest opinion. So here's the story. I wish we would have recorded this. So for the Flock League, we were debating, trying to figure out how we were going to determine draft order. I was trying to make it, and I think we were all trying to make it something that we could record, wouldn't take too much time, and was like okay doing, right? Like it wasn't like super unfair for anybody. Nobody had a massive advantage. We were all pretty bad at basketball. Basketball is going to be quick, be fun to record, so we could do a game of knockout. Danny was full-blown terrified. He was coming up with literally anything. He was sitting there going, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Knockout doesn't sound good. What about tic-tac-toe? What about rock, paper, scissors? We can do rock, paper, scissors. I saw a putting green back there. Y'all want to do putting? Danny was terrified of doing the knockout. It was hilarious. And yeah, but obviously, I mean, we were all getting cooked on the vlog. Everybody was saying that we were absolutely garbage at shooting a basketball, which of course, guys, come on. With my height, with my athleticism, if I could shoot a basketball, I would be in the NBA. We all understand that. With my vertical ability, with my strength, with my speed, with my endurance, with my height, with my size overall. If I was a shooter, I would be in Los Angeles playing with LeBron at the moment. Sadly, I'm not. So I'm sitting here. So it's crazy that you are surprised that my knockout game wasn't top notch. But Michael, longtime member of the flock, happy to see you. One of the better profile picks, if not the best profile picks in the chat for years now. Okay. Danny says, when I win the Flock League, we may break YouTube views records with the villain. I'd play in that video. Yeah. My God. I'm ready to go up against some of my nemesis in the league. I was initially going to make Corey my rival, but Corey didn't seem like he was having it. And Avery has been poking the bear. So in the Flock League, Avery is my official rival now. Now Lockett off the board at 126. Caleb goes 127. In terms of grabbing a quarterback stack here, we could take Jared Goff, pair him up with Sam Laporta. Jerry Jeudy is a great value. If we look at the teams after us, all of them actually have a quarterback at this point. Perilla after us has 2 quarterbacks with Josh Allen, Jordan Love. This team has Dak Prescott's. This team has Tua, and none of them have Detroit Lions. So I think Jared Goff would make a lot of sense to pair up with Sam Laporta here. But we could potentially go with Jerry Jeudy and then roll the dice to see if we're going to get Jared Goff making it back to us at 136. We really just need to dodge these 2 teams now with OG Grookie, who does take an unstacked Jared Goff, but they also took an unstacked Tua earlier, so it looks like they don't necessarily care as much about stacks. Naeem says, when is the new video from the Flock League? I think it will be every Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I think we're going to have a new video that comes out. At least that's the initial plan right now. Okay. So Hawkinson off 135. In terms of what we can be looking to do here, I think almost anything's in play, specifically in the flock tournament. I'm less excited about Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's great in Best Ball Mania, where you are just shooting for the highest ceiling possible in weeks 15, 16, 17. But in this tournament, I think it maybe makes more sense for us to go for points in weeks 1 through 14, because only the top scoring team out of your 12-team league is going to be advancing. So we'll mix in Zeke to 136. Danny says, I'm not going to lie. The way our offense looked, I'm kind of terrified that y'all may hold us to 10 or less points Saturday. What do you mean? I could. What do you mean? Okay. So after we take Zeke, Michael Wilson, Charbonnet, and Schultz all off the board. So Herbert off 141. Dobbins goes 142. Sorry, need the fan on, or I'm going to be sweating buckets in here. Jalen Wright, 145. Good for us to see running backs go, because when we take Ezekiel Elliott as our RB5, we are done drafting running backs. So it is nice to potentially have quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers making it back. That is primarily what we are going to look to do here. Danny says Michigan, Texas. Ooh, is that who Texas is playing this next week? Showing how bad of a UT fan I am. I know who we were playing like the day before. We play Michigan this next week. A top 10 matchup. Dear God. The reason I didn't know this is because it's in Michigan. But then we get a couple cakewalks. We get UTSA. It's like so funny. You go to Colorado State, to Michigan, and then to UTSA. Michigan last week, 30-10, Fresno State. What's the spread on the UT Michigan game? So the report with Josh Downs, iffy for week 1. Coach noted Monday that Downs is progressing well while rehabbing his ankle. That said, it's unclear if Downs will be able to practice Wednesday, with that wideout status for Sunday's game undetermined. So it sounds like more likely than not, he is going to be missing week 1. But now that he's going after someone like Jalen McMillan, I think that's kind of priced in at this point. So I will be willing to mix in some Josh Downs at this price tag. And it's not like this is a situation that you have with Nick Chubb, where we passed on Chubb in the previous round, where Chubb is guaranteed to miss a considerable amount of time. Here you may only have 1 week missed from Downs. But real quick, the lady's winning in the room, so let me let her in. Come on, baby thing. You want to tell everybody hi? You want to tell everybody hi? Say what's up, people. Y'all ready for the football season? Y'all ready for the football season? Say, Danny, you ain't got no shot. You ain't got no shot to take down the flock league. I know, baby. All right, Rodgers goes. We can definitely take 3 quarterbacks when our first quarterback's 105, and we are not looking to take another until 160. Let's move this. So Ray Davis is falling. Not the best thing for us here. I mean, honestly, do we just take Kmet? I know it's so gross, but Kmet's now fallen into the range of Hunter Henry. We are quarterback, wide receiver, tight ends. Baker does correlate with Chris Godwin. We could go Baker. We're going to take Baker Mayfield, because the thing, if we take Kmet, I still want to draft 3 tight ends anyway. So I don't necessarily know if that does much for our squad. So let's go Baker. Danny says was -5 this morning. So it's supposed to be a close game then. It's supposed to be a close game. Okay. Let's move this down. After we go Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith is off the board, 161. Okay. Gino 161, Khalil 162. Komet finally off. It's not like I was on Komet this season, but with the drop that you've had from the Gerald Everett preseason usage, I am beginning to get a little bit on the side of, is this overblown? Maybe it's not. I think there's a chance that Cole Kmet is like in a tight end by committee in an offense where 3 wide receivers are taking a considerable amount of targets with a rookie quarterback at the helm. So I like, for what it's like, my heart wants to tell me like, oh, buy the dip on Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's going to be fine. People are overblowing it. And then my brain, once you actually start thinking about it, it's like, I don't know. Potentially be, I mean, at best, he's the 4th option in the offense. And at worst, he's the 4th option in splitting with Gerald Everett. Okay. Now let's smooth this. Teresa and Danny. Danny, I sent the hoodie and the shirt to you. I'm sure you already had the hat, so I didn't send any hats to you. I sent all the merch stuff out. Teresa, let me know when you get it. Danny, let me know when you get it. And I need to message Corey. Whenever I sent it to Corey, I accidentally put Danny's name on it too. But Danny Ladster, and I sent it to Corey. So definitely need to give him a heads up on that. I had mixed up the addresses, and then after I did Corey's, I realized, oh crap, that's actually, I thought it was Danny's address. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter to any of y'all. Okay, but anyway, Andrew, welcome to being a member of the flock. Rated R Savior says, so ask questions. We go to the flock site. Is it similar to the way that we would on YouTube? Everything I've seen involves the $79 package. So if you want to ask a start set question, it's like $5. If you want to ask a trade question, it's $5 on flockfantasy.com. And if you have a subscription where you get the rankings, the trade calculator, the trade finder, the My Teams page, all the expert values, blah, blah, blah. And that's not only to myself, but that's also from the guys at Fantasy Stock Exchange. All their rankings and stuff are over there, which you would get with the subscription. Domain guys, land guys, you get a bunch of premium content. And then obviously all the premium posts and stuff through the season. Anyway, if you have that subscription on the sites, then even like the $5 trade questions, 30% off if you use code FLOCK specifically for mine, and 15% off for everybody else's. So I hope that clarifies. Jack says FSU losing to Boston College. Yeah, I was actually started this live stream late because I was watching that game. I was thinking it was potentially going to be a good game. And yeah, it's absolutely garbage. FSU is terrible. My brother is a freshman at FSU now, so of course I was messaging him and stuff with it. I told him he is allowed to be a Texas fan. We'll accept him. He can come on over. I'm a judgment-free zone. I am fully in support of fair weather fans, bandwagon fans. I think the best way to incentivize teams and front offices to build good teams is, hey, I'm not going to be a fan of a garbage team. I'm not going to be a fan of a garbage organization. If you want my views, if you want me to buy your jerseys, if you want my money, give me a good product. Give me a good team. So I told him, hey, Texas is spending a lot of money. We got some good players. We kicking butt. You can come over and you can be a Texas fan. Malachi Corley off the board. I think we take Cade Otton, pair up Cade Otton with Baker Mayfield. And if we hit 300 likes on this live stream, we are going to get another draft going after this one. So if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button. We may already be at 300 likes. I'm sure we're firing up another draft, but someone in the chat, let me know. Okay. Sundown says, can't wait for more Flock League content. I can't wait for more either. I just hired a editor specifically for the Flock League channel. I'm going to be investing a lot into it. I think it's going to be awesome. So whenever I make like these fantasy football YouTube videos, since I've done it for years, I can't really watch them. Like I can't really watch anybody's fantasy football videos anymore. But whenever we put out the video on the Flock League, specifically of the trade Danny and I made, I watched it 5 to 10 times and I was just dying laughing. Like it's so much fun. Okay. looks like we are already past 300. So we're going to make our pick here at 201, and then we're going to get into another flock tournament on Underdog. And of course, I do want to remind everybody, I am going to be focusing on the draft here, the team that we are building. So I'm sorry, we're not going to be doing live grades in the live chat right now. So if you send your team in the live chat, I don't know if anybody's going to be reading it. I'm not going to be reading it. And like I said, you can submit them on flockfantasy.com. I'll be doing the live Q&As through flockfantasy.com's questions during the season. So I'd definitely be happy to look at your team then. But right now we are focusing in on these drafts. Okay. So Colby Parkinson off the board, 196. I think when we wait to round 16 to take our second tight end, after taking our first tight end, I believe at pick 40, specifically in a smaller field contest, I think we're allowed to go with a third tight end. And I think we're allowed to go with a third quarterback here, to be honest with you as well. So Ben Sinnott doesn't make it to us. Obviously, he would have been in play with us having Jaden Daniels. Looking at some other potential quarterback stacking options that we have at this point, we have Daniel Jones to pair up with Wan'Dale Robinson, but if there's somebody else that we just think scores significantly more points, I'm an idiot, so I'll probably just go ahead and take said player. Naylor off 199. I've not taken him in a single draft. If Addison gets a large suspension and Naylor crushes, I'm doomed. I am actually going to take Daniel Jones. I do think that Daniel Jones can outscore the rest of the players here. And then we are just going to queue up some tight ends. We're going to queue up Kraft, Knox, Gesicki, and then Dulcich, Chig. And then we're going to bounce to another Flock community draft. If you want to find the Flock tournament on Underdog, scroll all the way to the end. You can check it out there. $10 buy-in, 44,000 entry. We are in. Let's go. Yeah, I already know, Dan, and I said, Danny, you know, I said it at the, during the Flock draft week. I knew Danny was going to be the main character in the draft. Obviously, all the fantasy stock exchange guys, the domain guys, the land guys, I've interacted with them a ton online, but I had never spent any time in real life with them until a couple weeks ago when they came down to Austin. And I didn't exactly know what to expect. And at first, Danny came, I was like, oh, this guy's a lot. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I love Danny. He's literally going to be the main character of the league. But let me know if you were in this draft with us. I see Kadarius Toney in this draft with us at pick 6. I see Kellen Johnston in this draft with us at pick 11. And yeah, now I see Kellen Johnson out in the chat as well. Ben Swanson is in here with us at pick 8. Hanaj in this draft with us at pick 9. Johnny in this draft with us at pick 4. GST says, I am 0 out of 200. Brutal. K11 in with us at pick 1. Thank you for joining this draft with us, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And Ryan in here at pick 10. Let's go. So St. Brown goes 4. The question is, do we take Jamar Chase at 7? And Danny, if you're still in the chat, should I be worried about Jamar Chase? Obviously, I took Jamar Chase at pick 7 in the Flock League. I ranked Jamar Chase this week as if he was going to be playing. I thought he was, and now I am getting nervous. So let's see. Kadarius Toney, what are you doing here, my friend? Goes Bijan. Goes Jefferson. I'm going Bijan over Chase right now. Maybe this is stupid. Maybe I shouldn't stress about it. Maybe I should just go ahead and take Jamar Chase. If it was Best Ball Mania, I would, obviously Best Ball Mania is closed, but if it was open, I would have just gone Chase for the ADP value. But here in the Flock tournament, that doesn't matter. So let's go. Danny says, yeah, you should be extremely worried. Don't worry, I'll offer you Tolbert for him. Save you the risk. Thank you. Tolbert's playing week 1, right? I feel that sounds good with me. After we take Bijan, Chase does immediately go after at 8. Can everybody spam the chat? At this point, would you rather have Bijan Robinson or Jamar Chase? Spam the chat. Do you want Bijan? Do you want Chase? Which direction are you going in? Was I stupid to take Bijan Robinson where we did? Okay. Let's check this. We got Bijan, Chase, Bijan, Chase, Bijan, Chase, Chase. It does seem like most people are saying Bijan Robinson. So Taylor off 14. Chase says Horchata's mom. Real quick, I have not noticed Horchata in the chat for a while. Horchata, if you are still here, just to make sure we're on the same page. I'm joking. Please don't be mad. We're going to take Drake London in this draft with us at 18. We know we want to go with the wide receiver at 18 to give ourselves the flexibility through the middle rounds. So I think London is the guy when Harrison goes at 17. But Horchata, if you're still out here, it'd be nice to see you in the chat to make sure we still cool. It was a joke. I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, and this is the All-Atlanta team. The All-Atlanta team. Okay. And then, of course, I do want to remind y'all, if y'all wanted to get in a flock tournament, if y'all want to get into a draft with us, we are doing these every night on the live stream. Underdog is the best place to go into an extra fantasy football draft because there's no time commitment at all during the year. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And of course, if you wanted to join that draft, you can find a link in the description, comment section, live chat. If you use code FLOCK, you are going to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus my 2024 fantasy football rankings, my 2024 fantasy football draft guide, and Underdog has a special for Thursday night, Travis Kelce, more than less than half a total yard. And if you use code FLOCK on Underdog, you are going to get an additional Christian McCaffrey special pick more than less than half a total yard for week 1 as well. So definitely make sure you take advantage of that. Ben's Mafia, happy to see you. And Danny says, we need to release lines on which dev colludes first. Well, we didn't show this in the vlog, just in case anybody watched. I'm sure most of y'all watched the Flock League vlog here. But during the knockout game, two of the developers of flockfantasy.com were shooting back to back. And the one shooting behind his buddy specifically was just missing shots on purpose until the other developer made it. And then he just hit the layup real quick and then passed it to the next person. So there's already been collusion happening. I think we go ahead and we reach on Stefon Diggs at pick 31. I wouldn't recommend you to take Stefon Diggs here in your regular redraft league. I definitely go with a running back like Pacheco or Henry. But specifically on Underdog, where running back's going to be easy to find later on, wide receiver will be tougher. I think we just go with Diggs, sacrifice a little bit of running back production now so we can take advantage of the running back production later, especially when we took Bijan Robinson in round 1. Okay. Danny says, I was behind Joe, and it actually blessed me. Well, that's nice. I got screwed because I was put behind the freaking machine, Thomas. And J Money asked over Rice. Maybe I'm stupid, but I still probably want Dell over Rice. Diggs over Rice. Which obviously, based off the reports that the NFL is not going to do anything until we actually get real Rice legal matters figured out. It does make it where Rice is just skyrocketing up drafts, where we saw Rice go up pick 25 in the draft before this. So Mahomes goes to the Travis Kelce team there at 36. I think maybe Kellen at 35 was planning on going Rice Mahomes. Pittman and Laporta both off. So since we go Diggs, we have the option to go Travis Etienne here. We could also go Zay Flowers. If I thought there was any shot that Zay Flowers would make it back, that Lamar Jackson would make it back around to us at 55, I would go Zay Flowers at 42, specifically targeting Lamar. But the issue is when we've already seen Mahomes, Allen, Hurts all get drafted, I think the probability that we get Lamar Jackson making it back to us at 55 is extremely low. I think that probability is extremely low. Chase says, is the Rice news good for Addison as well? From what I've seen, and of course, please correct me in the live chat because I could 100% be wrong here. Yeah, the Lamar and Andrews goes there at 48, 49, kind of what you were, I mean, at least what you would expect. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But we saw another instance with Zay Jones where the NFL did not wait for the legal situation to play out, and the NFL just decided to suspend Zay Jones immediately. And then in the Rashee Rice case, they said, we're going to let the legal situation play out. So please let me know if I'm mistaken, but it seems like the NFL is taking it from a case-by-case basis. And maybe they can look at a player like Rashee Rice and go, hey, he's actually on the most popular team, the best team in the NFL. Let's probably not mess with him. But somebody that's on a team that's not contending for a Super Bowl, that people don't really care about, we can make a statement out of him. So I don't know if we can say, yeah, the NFL is setting a precedent that they're for sure waiting for legal action with all these guys. Now they're going to do the same thing with Jordan Addison. Because they didn't with Zay. And yeah, Danny says, Rice is good, Zay is bad. It's pretty simple. And honestly, it's probably what it is. And the NFL, and it's not, I don't think it's the Taylor Swift privilege. I don't think it's a massive conspiracy theory. I think and of course, I'm talking out of my butt. I'm a 25-year-old that just bought a microphone and hit go live on YouTube. I know nothing. I know nobody. I have no qualifications. I'm an idiot. So just get that all out of the way. But I think probably the NFL is just a business. They can make a business decision to go, yeah, we'd probably rather have Rashee Rice playing. Probably rather make some money with the Chiefs being good this year. And go, no, I don't think that we're going to lose much money for suspending Zay Jones, and maybe we'll look better overall as a brand. So let's do that. And I'm saying this knowing nothing about the individual situation. So do not listen to me, like I said. Okay. And Rock Bottom says Zay was the domestic violence charge. I think maybe that's why. That 100% could be why, which is why I said don't listen to me whatsoever. Now, Keenan Allen off pick 63. Chris Godwin goes 64. I honestly, when we already have Bijan and London, I don't want to go Kyle Pitts. And all of a sudden, our first 6 rounds, we take 3 players from the same offense. It's something that I would have done in years past, but really in week 17, it just does kind of cap your ceiling overall. So instead, we're going to go about it with a different funny way, where now we have the starting running back for the Falcons and their wide receiver 1. We have the starting running back for the Jags and their wide receiver 1. We have the starting running back for the Texans and one of their receivers with Stephon Diggs. So we are in on Houston. We are in on Jacksonville. We are in on Atlanta. Clearly, those quarterbacks can be guys that we target later as well. Did I do this specifically because it was a plan? Not really. It just kind of fell this way. So we are hoping that these offenses are good. These offenses score a lot of points. They have a ton of trips to the red zone. They have opportunities at the goal line. Is it a guarantee? Of course not, but we'll see. Keon Coleman goes 71. Avery, yes, this is the Flock Community Contest. Christian Watson off the board at 73. So Stroud makes it to us with where we're already in on Houston with a combo of Diggs and Mixon. We would have gotten Stroud. Stroud actually goes to a team with no Houston Texans here. James Conner goes 76. I know what position we're looking at. It just comes down to, do we get somebody we like? Connor, yeah, I'm sorry. Super chats are off. We're no longer doing super chats. All questions go through flockfantasy.com. I think we will take Ladd McConkey here. Similar to why we passed on Pitts earlier. I don't want 3 players from one individual offense this early if it's not the quarterback and 2 of their weapons. I don't want 3 weapons from an individual offense forcing us to reach in the quarterback a little later on. So we will take Ladd McConkey as our 4th receiver here at pick 79. Okay. After we take Ladd, Jameson, Ingram, Hopkins off. After Jones goes 83, that team at 11, Kellen is in this live chat, has Puka, Rashee Rice at wide receiver, Taylor, White, Jones at running back, quarterback, Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson, both unstacked. Maybe you say, oh, well, yeah, I have Anthony Richardson paired up with Taylor. But interesting. DeAndre Swift off 86. In terms of quarterbacks we're looking at, we don't have any potential Burrow stack. I think the main things, the main guys we're targeting are Lawrence and... Actually, we will take Hollywood Brown at 90. We decided to pass on Hollywood around 7. Big reason being is, like we said, in the Flock tournament, only 1 out of these 12 teams are going to advance to the fantasy football playoffs. So you really need to try to have a very high score for weeks 1 through 14. Hollywood missing time is going to make it tougher for you to do just that. And also, in comparison to, say, like if we were in a Best Ball Mania draft, if it was still open, there you can make an argument, oh, for sure go Hollywood around 7 because most teams would have drafted him at the 4 or 5 turn. Well, here, since this Flock tournament opened up today, the Hollywood ADP is already depressed, right? So, it is what it is. We will take Hollywood at 90. Rob, welcome to being a member of the Flock. Happy to have you. Okay. So 103, I think we have a bunch of different options here. In terms of quarterback, I'm probably not taking Caleb. We have no Bears. We don't need to panic. I think I know exactly who we want here at 103. And I think we will get him as well. Something dramatic would have to happen for us not to. I have a plan A, I have a plan B, and I will not tell you until we are on the clock. And Teresa, let people post their teams in the chat. I'm just probably going to ignore it. I think the only thing is if people copy and paste their teams over and over again, then obviously it's an issue. But Rich, happy to see you. I just saw Rich in the live chat. Long time no see. Plan A actually does happen. We get David Njoku here at 103. Plan B was going to be Joshua Palmer. One thing that was surprising, and obviously I'm by no means a defensive expert. I have never and will never claim to be an expert on defenses. I didn't realize how strong this Cleveland defense is supposed to be. Right now, Cleveland is actually favored over Dallas for week 1. And Dallas has an implied team total of like 19.75 points. Good night, Danny. Happy to see you. Thank you for stopping by. And if you are still listening to this, I would like to get your opinion on the Dallas Browns game. Where I was like, right now, sportsbooks are legitimately projecting Dallas to be a below average offense. And I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess Cleveland's defense is just one hell of a defense. So obviously, y'all know my opinion. I'm not going to sit here and stress about defensive evaluations because I know that Vegas sportsbooks ultimately are going to know more than I do with that. So I'd rather just rely on them as resources. And unless I'm missing something about some serious Dallas injuries. Okay. Let's move this down. Lawrence off the board at 112. I think we have a bunch of different options of who we can be going with at 114. Spears off. If Singletary was going to be the guy to go, I was going to take Jerome Ford. We could continue the trend of taking the starting running back for a team and pass catcher in their offense as well. But instead, we will just take Devin Singletary at 114. We will get some boring, gross offensive offense volume in. What is funny is looking at projections for week 1. Right now, sportsbooks are projecting the Giants score more points than Dallas. It's crazy. Danny says, I honestly think it's more the books respecting the Browns than shade on Dallas. That's what I'm saying. That was my initial take on it. It's just that because Dallas still projects to be a top 10 scoring offense rest of season if you look at all the implied team totals. But for them to go out there week 1, I think it's just maybe the Browns are supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league this year. Okay. King Josh says, Mason, are you a little concerned that Chase might not play? Yes. If I didn't have him in the flock league, I'd probably be ignoring it and saying, oh, it's going to be fine. Not worried. But because I have him, I'm getting nervous. Kadarius Toney on the clock, 126. If we were to go running back here, we're done drafting running backs the rest of this draft. I don't necessarily know if we want to go Gabe Davis, especially with Lawrence already off the board, right? Lawrence goes ahead of ADP. We don't want to go Gabe Davis to pair him up with Kirk and ETN with no Lawrence. So we will take Gus Edwards as our 5th running back. This is just a really funny team. Whereas if you look at the squad, we have 2 Falcons. We have Bijan London. We have 2 Texans. We have Diggs Mixon. We have 2 Jags. We have ETN Kirk. We have 2 Chargers. We have Ladd and Gus Edwards. We are just collecting a wide receiver and a running back teammates for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. Okay, Gabe Davis off the board at 129. Rini says, yo, chat, would you guys drop the Cincinnati defense and Shaheed for Mike Williams, Burden, and Polk? In terms of defenses week 1, I'm nervous about this because my week 1 matchup, I'm going up against Thomas, the editor on this channel. And his defense is the Cincy defense, who has the best matchup in the league this week. Going up against the Patriots. So I am nervous. There's not much I can do about it at this point. But I would highly recommend you playing the Cincy defense if you can. I think we're going to take Herbert as our QB1 here. Hopefully the offense is better than people are expecting. Decent coaching staff. Great quarterback. I know people are worried about the time that Justin Herbert's missed. Right now, sportsbooks are projecting the Chargers to pretty much be in a below-average offense this season. But we have Ladd. We have Gus Edwards. If this team's going to be good, we need to find some quarterback upside here. So I think it does make sense to just go ahead and to take Herbert. Okay. Hey, I tweeted this out yesterday, and I definitely want to talk about it on the live stream because I feel like us fantasy football drafters, we always find something to complain about in fantasy football. And we don't really count our blessings where we have them. We had the best injury luck ever this offseason. There's not been a single relevant torn ACL. There's not been a relevant player ruled out for the year in training camp or the preseason. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only player that was of fantasy football relevance that's going to be missing week 1 from an injury is Hollywood Brown. Like Danny, I know, knock on wood. I'm not trying to jinx this. Danny says Connor's going to go down. Come on, my guy. Connor's about to be RB3. But I know people are going to say don't jinx it. Reality of the situation is whatever I say has no impact on injuries in the NFL, all right? Let's get jinxing. Let's get knockout wood out of here. Can y'all ever remember a season like this where the worst injury we've had from a fantasy football perspective is a wide receiver 3 is going to miss a game or 2? That's the worst thing that's happened. We have been blessed in terms of nobody going down with a significant injury. I know Jamar Chase has no the Jamar Chase situation is going to get figured out. Gannon says Hawkinson had the injury going into the year, right? I don't count Hawkinson. I don't count Nick Chubb. I don't count Jonathan Brooks. I'm not counting the players who got injured in 2023. We already knew that. JJ McCarthy, yes, I guess JJ McCarthy is somebody. You're right. It's not like you were starting McCarthy, and McCarthy was going to be the backup quarterback at the beginning of the season for Minnesota. Like, obviously, it's relevant from like a real life perspective and definitely a Minnesota perspective. And I don't think it's good for the guys. I don't think it's good for Jefferson. I don't think it's good for Addison. But comparison to years past, this has been... Hopkins is going to play week 1. Josh Downs may miss a week. And Josh Downs is being drafted as a wide receiver 4. So wide receiver 4 missing a week with a high ankle sprain or 2 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Like in a league where you want to start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, which is like a regular fantasy football draft, the Josh Downs injury has no relevance at all. Obviously in best ball, then it does. And same thing, Sticky Ricky. In best ball drafts, trust me, I've spent more dollars drafting Sticky Ricky at wide receiver 70 than any other player in fantasy football this year. But at the same time, he was going at wide receiver 70. It's a fantasy football relevant injury for people playing in super deep leagues like on Underdog. But in a regular fantasy football draft, it has no relevance. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Green Bean says minimal injuries in 1 less preseason game. Players and fans getting W's. I definitely like this preseason setup more than preseason games in years past. As if you are looking at like the setup now, you essentially have 1 week where I don't know. You have 1 week where starters can go out there and play against each other. Some teams aren't even throwing them out. It's more like extended team practices than anything, where it felt like the old standard, you had a month of preseason games. I feel like a bigger ordeal. Which seems like now preseason games are just kind of set up as practices, which is how they probably should be, right? Okay, Drake May goes 173. What's the report on Noah Fant? Present for warmups. When we are done drafting running backs with Bijan, Etienne, Mixon, Singletary, Edwards, So we'll go ahead. We will take Noah Fant here. Not going to act like Noah Fant's the best pick in the world, but we need another tight end. Fant does get a decent contract. I really liked him as a prospect. He looked decent early on in Denver. Maybe the change with the offensive coordinator is actually to make this a relevant pick too. And of course, we are going to get into another draft after this one if we hit 600 likes on this stream. So if you have not done so already, go down there, hit that like button, and we'll get another draft going. Danny says, oh, I swear every time I say I'm going to head out, stay for an extra half hour. It's 10:21. Completely understand if you got to head out. Appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Definitely need to get you on another live stream soon before the season starts, because definitely don't think you're going to be wanting to come on for the live Q&As with me during the year. Gene says, can we not donate to ask questions? No, all start sit questions, all trade questions, all roster reviews, that's all through flockfantasy.com. You can donate through flockfantasy.com. And there I can actually see all your league settings. I can see your team. I can send you the message directly as well, so you're never going to miss it. So I think it's a much better overall process. It works currently. The design's a little clunky, and it doesn't look that pretty, which is why we're not showing it in a live stream. But on Wednesday, the developers should have everything pushed out, all the new updates. Massive, massive overhaul, which I can't be more excited for. We're going to have a stream mode where I can go through and I can show your teams on the live stream. I can show all your questions, your start sit questions, your trade questions, and it's going to be so much better than just a little text box at the very bottom. Okay. Alex says, how much is flockfantasy.com? If you go through, sign up for a yearly subscription, you can do an $83 or $97 option with code FLOCK. A monthly is $13 or $16 a month with code FLOCK. And a trade question or start sit questions, $5. I don't exactly remember how much a roster review is. I'm trying to think. I do know you get 30% off any roster reviews if you have an active subscription to me with code FLOCK. We're going to go Sam Darnold. We don't have any Darnold stacks, but I just think he scores a lot of points here with this offense. And also, if you sign up to an annual Mother Flocker package with code FLOCK to flockfantasy.com, you will actually get a free team review by me every year as well. Okay. Kadarius Toney right after us. We sniped Darnold from him. He has to go Bo next. Probably not the best Darnold pick. I get you, my guy, but I don't know. I just think in terms of points scored at quarterback, Sam Darnold's going to score a ton of them with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and a great coaching staff here in comparison to somebody like Bo Nix. I think the Vikings offense is going to be much better than Denver this year. I know. It didn't. I know we don't have any of the Minnesota stacks, but it is what it is. Bryce Young off 193. Malik Washington goes 195. Corey was telling me how Malik Washington had been somebody that he had been taking a ton in round 18. And I sadly was not. I was not smart enough. Kadarius Toney's probably going to snipe us on our guy here, isn't he? Better not do it, my friend. Introducing the wide receiver one in fantasy football for 2025 drafts. Come on down the big Q. We will add Quentin Johnston going right next to Malachi Corley, Tyler Boyd, Diami Brown. I stand by at this price point. He's a great value. We have Justin Herbert. Immaculate. But let's go ahead. Let's queue up a couple tight ends here. And then we are going to be bouncing to another draft. This next draft we're going to do will be another Flock community contest. We are in, and there are 9 slots open for everybody who wants to get in here. And, of course, you can find that link in the description comment section. I forgot what I was going to say. Where are we picking? Pick 1. Finally, Underdog is paying some respect. No more pick 9 for your boy. We moving on up in the world. Pick 1's so good because not Not only do you get a way better player at 1 than you do at like 9, but at the same time, they're at 24-25. I think the player you get at 24-25 is kind of comparable to the guy you get at 16, and I think it's a lot better than the guy you get at 33. It's like, and then I would say almost the same thing. I think the guys you get at the 4-5 turn are infinitely better than players at the 5-6 turn. I would be extremely surprised. I don't want to say extremely surprised, but I would be willing to bet money that the winning Best Ball Mania team this year comes from one of the first 6 picks rather than one of the last 6 picks. But Cosmic in at pick 6, Hanaj in at pick 11, Rob pick 9 in the next draft. Frank says CMC is a terrible pick here. I don't care, my friend. Christian McCaffrey, 357 points last year. Breece Hall, 252. Bijan, 217. Barkley, 202. Taylor, 146. HN, 177. Kyron, 239. Derrick Henry, 232. Not saying that Christian McCaffrey is going to repeat 357 points, of course. But even if McCaffrey were to regress by like 25% of his production from last season, you can still see him finishing as the running back 1. But Brandon in this draft with us at 7. Happy to see a Hudson in this draft with us at 3. Julius in this draft with us at 5. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. And of course, if you wanted to get into a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, comment section, live chat. We are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. These are best ball drafts. There's no time commitment at all during the season. It's how I draft hundreds of teams every year. It's how I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And of course, if you use code FLOCK, you are going to get my 2024 rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheet. Plus, with code FLOCK, you get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. A Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for week 1. That is a Flock exclusive. And then also they're doing a site-wide special pick'em that you can also take advantage of. Travis Kelce, more than less than half a total yard for Thursday night. Make sure you take advantage of it. Okay. In Bids Mafia, we are answering questions not through super chats anymore, but questions like start set questions, trade questions, roster reviews can all be submitted on flockfantasy.com. Okay. Devon Achane off at 17. Nico Collins goes 18. Let's move this. I saw Nico go, I think it picked 12 in the last draft, which is crazy because if you look at his ESPN price tag, he's just so much cheaper. Cup goes 21. Kyron off 22. So, I mean, this is exactly what we were wanting, right? We were planning on going wide receiver here at 24-25. I have an idea of who we want. We are going to get one of them. We're going to get Brandon Ayuk here at 24. And then we also just go ahead and we take Devontae Adams at 25. If you look at regular home drafts with where Devontae Adams goes, I definitely think that he is overpriced there, going as a high-end wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 1. But here, getting him as a low-end wide receiver 2 in underdog drafts, I'm completely fine with that price tag, and I'm going to be willing to pull the trigger on him in round 3. So we'll go Ayuk and Adams. I know we obviously are passing on Malik Neighbors here. I think Adams and Malik Neighbors are very similar. Their wide receivers are going to get every target in very bad offenses this season. But the thing is, we know Adams is great, and we are just thinking Malik Neighbors is great, but we haven't seen it for sure. Which definitely could be the case. Okay. Okay. Neighbors off 30. Metcalf goes 31. Shuzan says updated rankings for tomorrow. What updated rankings are you looking for? Weekly rankings? Rest of season rankings? Just let you know, I'm probably not updating rest of season rankings again on YouTube. On flockfantasy.com, I'm tinkering with our updates. I'm tinkering with our updates and rankings. Tinkering with our rankings and updating them every single day. I don't know why I can't talk. But don't think I am going to be uploading them on YouTube. YouTube, I'll be uploading the weekly rankings. I uploaded the week 1 wide receiver rankings today. And tomorrow we should be able to upload the week 1 running back. Okay, sorry, just texting my girlfriend trying to get some water in here. Seeing if she can get somebody else to hold the antenna for a moment and bring me some water. The team at 12 going 0 receivers through the first 4 rounds. Reiterate, the team at 12 probably knows what they're doing. They have a red badge. But from what I have seen over the past 4 years, the historical data shows that if you draft 0 wide receivers through the first 4 rounds on Underdog, you get absolutely crushed. Now, obviously, just because that's happened over the past 4 years, that doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen again this season. But it is something to point out. Okay. Let's move this over. Oh. Gracias. Zay Flowers off 41. Carlos says, what's your draft percentage on Neighbors? Extremely low. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Pittman continues to fall. Jacobs goes 44. Lamar off 45. I was really hoping that we were going to get the Lamar Andrews stack. Interesting to see that team go with Lamar. Puts us in definitely an awkward spot here at 48-49. McBride goes. I was hoping that we were going to get McBride. Hurts off. So I think we actually go with the Maury and Pickens. I think Pickens is definitely a better pick on Underdog now that you don't have to worry about the Brandon Ayuk trade. Don't think you have to worry about the Ayuk trade. But let me pull up how much Malik Neighbors I've drafted. Like I said, I don't think it's too much. 3% Malik Neighbors. My Giants exposures, I have 11% Wandale, 9% Singletary, 7% Daniel Jones, 5% Tyron Tracy, 3% Malik Neighbors, 3% Hyatt, 2% Slayton, 1% Theo Johnson. So Diggs fell down to pick 39. I did not notice that. Neighbors fell in this draft to pick 30. Neighbors typically in these Underdog drafts is going in the second round. Okay. Rashad White off 58. Jakey says, thoughts on T. Higgins skyrocketing up boards? Higgins goes at 43 in this draft. This is where T. Higgins has gone all offseason, my friend. At least on Underdog drafts. I'm sure in your regular home league, T. Higgins obviously goes lower than this because wide receivers aren't as important. But specifically in Underdog drafts, T. Higgins has gone in the middle round 4 all offseason. I really like T. Higgins at this price point. Higgins is one of my most drafted round 4 receivers. I'm sure Pittman's coming for his money now that Pittman's fallen to round 4. But we'll see. Hudson says, who is the lowest wide receiver you're trading Jamar straight up for? I'd rather have Lamb, Tyreek, St. Brown, and that's probably it. Because I think they figure out the Chase situation. Obviously, we flipped St. Brown over Chase in our rankings a week or two ago. But that's kind of like just going, oh, okay, well, Jamar Chase misses all this time in training camp. He's probably at a little bit of a higher risk for injury. He's also at the same time probably starting off a little slower. St. Brown crushed last year, is still incredibly young, also going to be an elite offense. So we moved St. Brown over him. I'm not ready to move Jefferson over Chase. Like, hypothetically, say Nathan were to offer me Jefferson for Chase tonight. Would you rather have Jefferson or Chase? Jefferson or Chase in your regular redraft league? I think we go JSN, continue to play catch-up at wide receiver when you go CMC in round 1. And then I think we can go ahead and take David Montgomery here at 73. Half PPR formats, so receiving isn't as important. And obviously, if Gibbs were to get injured, Montgomery just crushes. Okay, but Chase, Jefferson, Jefferson, Chase, Jefferson, 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 Chase, Chase, Jefferson, 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 Chase, Jefferson. So Jefferson, 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 Chase. It sounds like most people are saying Jefferson here, which I literally was. So I swear to God, I was thinking this earlier today. I was going back and forth, thinking if I should shoot Nathan a message going, hey, man, would you want to flip me Jefferson for Chase? And then I just thought of how scary it would be, especially just because, obviously, all the moves that are made in the Flock League, we're going to be talking about at length. If they're going to be very public, I'm going to have to... Loser of the league is never going to be able to live it down. So I just imagine, like, me trading Chase for Jefferson, then... the situation them figuring out the situation tomorrow. Joe Burrow leading the NFL in passing yards, Sam Darnold being absolute buns, and me never being able to live it down. So I don't know. It's probably not a good place to not be making a move out of fear. But I'm scared of the ceiling that Jamar Chase has if I were to let go of Chase. And I think it would almost be less embarrassing if I were to just draft Chase I took Jamar Chase at pick 7 in our draft. If I just take Jamar Chase at pick 7 and he doesn't play and I go, how was I supposed to know? That's not my fault. Whereas if I panic trade Chase for Jefferson and then it turns out to go in the opposite direction, then your boy's screwed. Okay. So Sutton off. I am saying this as Jefferson was fine last year with the worse quarterback than Darnold, but it was under an extremely small sample. Jefferson was fine with a very, very small sample. How is it going to look for 17 weeks? I have no idea. We're about to find out together. Okay. Now, Ramadre off the board at 88. Braden says, okay, what is everyone's league punishment? Our league loser has to sign up and run a marathon. I am very interested to hear what y'all's league punishment is. And I don't want to hear something that's just made up that you think would be funny. Like, if your league has a real punishment, let me know. The punishment in the Flock League, obviously I'm sure y'all saw all of us together. We're going to do that Flock Draft Week every week going forward, every year going forward. Is the loser has to, for all videos and all day, wear a t-shirt that the winner makes of the winner's face on the t-shirt, and the winner gets to put whatever they want, just making fun of the loser, just quoting dumb takes that they had from the year before, why they are the loser, why they lost. And I really don't want to deal with that, especially if it's like if Avery wins the league and I have to wear a shirt of Avery on it. I wouldn't be able to. Brock Bowers off the board here at 96, and then we're going to go Tony Pollard at 97. Stay pretty balanced in this draft so far. Okay. Let's move this down. Andrew says, beer mile at 10 minutes. Chocolate milk mile. By the end of the mile, the half gallon of chocolate milk has to be gone. Not going to lie, that sounds very easy. Tanner says 24 hours into McDonald's. All the menu items have a certain time you get to take off for 24 hours. Like a Big Mac is 3 hours. See, that's what I want to do. Just they weren't. I need to convince them to be willing to do that. Because it would be so good to live stream that. Ryan says, I'm at pick 10 in this draft. Our league has to take a blow-up doll on a date. That'd be funny, but in terms of us making that like a public thing on YouTube, we do that, and then brand doesn't want to work with us anymore. That'd be a little tough. So I don't think we can do it. Austin says, last place has to go to an amusement park and wait in lines all day and not allowed to ride anything. Now, that is really funny. That is hilarious. Dustin, our loser has to buy the keg for next year's live draft and caddy 18 holes for the winner. That's really good, too. Clutch says, might as a professional photo shoot dressed up as a ballerina. That one's great. SO, pulling the classic and practical joker, says, our loser has to go to bingo night and shout bingo every time he's told to. Teresa says, we tie the loser to the flagpole for the day at the firehouse. That's awesome. Braden says, would you rather wear a shirt of Avery or run a marathon? I would way rather run a marathon. I run marathons pretty often. And not like official races, just terms of turning on the watch and going. And throwing some gels in the back pocket. Alex says last place does stand-up comedy. That'd be pretty good. I would crush in stand-up. I got my minute. If I ever got called on Kill Tony, y'all would see me and y'all would go, oh my gosh, Mason killed it. Yeah. I'd be so good, I'd immediately get pulled back. Here's my plan. I get called up for Kill Tony. I crush. My 60 seconds is immaculate. People are dying. Somebody pees their pants. I'm on fire up there. They go, oh my God, how long have you been doing this? I go, I've been doing it for 10 years. They go, well, we can see that. And then they invite me back to be a regular. And all of a sudden I'm in, even though it was my first set ever. I'm just there, says a minute's hard, dude. I can do a minute easily. We've been live for an hour and a half. This is pretty much just, I've been doing an hour and a half stand up right here. So there's no difference. Obviously, I'm joking. But, Boozy says, Ella just tried to get standby tickets. Was a fail. Yeah. I've been able to go to so many comedy shows at the mothership, but Kill Tony, it's impossible to get tickets for. I've never been able to go. Okay. I think maybe we just go running back, call it a day here with Devin Singletary and Blake Corum. Quarterback, Lawrence doesn't have any potential stacks for us. Tua doesn't have anything. So obviously we are going to be taking 3 QBs with this team. I think it's like a Deshaun Watson, a Geno Smith, Russell Wilson team. As gross as that sounds. We have Adams and Bowers if we want to mix in Gardner Minshew. Obviously, Minshew really doesn't get drafted at all in these, so it would be a little bit of a unique pick. Okay. Booty Madon says, really, do you know anyone that sells Kill Tony tickets, though, just in case I end up being in Austin? My friend, I have never gone to Kill Tony because I've never been able to get tickets. I promise you, if I knew somebody who sold Kill Tony tickets, I would steal them way before I hooked you up with them. I love you, my guy. I appreciate you always hanging out in the live chat with us. But, I would love to be able to go to Kill Tony. Okay. Brian says, why Pollard over Daniels? Mainly because I was hoping that we got Brock Purdy making it back to us at 120. Obviously, in this draft, Brock Purdy did not make it back to us at 120, which does suck. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Real quick, does anybody in this live chat use this is an interesting question. It's always something I talk about with people in real life, just trying to figure out their experience with it. I don't know why I've never asked y'all. Do y'all ever use like a headset, like an Apple Vision Pro or a Meta Quest? One, have y'all ever used one? Two, do you have one? And three, if you have one, how often do you use it? Please let me know. Please let me know. Alex has one. Benny says Quest 3. Morgan says, I used one at a work conference. Seems useless. Pump says, use the Quest to play Super Hot like once a month. No idea what Super Hot is. Beam uses the Vision Pro once a month. Dylan has a Meta Quest. Haven't used it in months. Cole's friend has one, says it's super heavy. Calicos has never used my Meta 3. So I've never used one. I've never put one on. But I really want them to make it like extremely good. I don't play video games, but I would imagine that if they can set it up like extremely high quality video games with the headset, I feel like it would be so much fun. So I'm hoping one day it's like everybody's using it and telling me, oh my gosh, Mason, if they finally figured it out, you have to get on. And I can, but till then, everybody I talk to is like, yeah, it's not that good. I have one, never use it. I've like very rarely have I ever run into anybody that's like, oh yeah, no man, it's great. I use it all the time. I literally never happens. Okay. We're going to go Dalton Schultz and Michael Wilson here at 145. When we take Schultz at 144, I think it does lock us into a 2 tight end build with Brock Bowers and Dalton Schultz. I was kind of hoping that Pat Frymuth was actually going to make it to us so we could pair up Pat Frymuth with George Pickens and then really just lock in a Russell Wilson selection later on. But yeah, let's take Wilson and let's move on. Parker says it's a cool product, but you get bored of it after 3 months. Like, I know, obviously, like, the Ready Player One, that's like a dystopian movie, and I think that there are a lot of dystopian aspects of it. But I just think, like, the concept of you being able to put it on and, like, go to a different world, or especially, like, historical stuff, right? Like, I've read a lot about, like, the American Revolution. Like, and you can imagine it, but if they make it where like you can put it on and you're like, you feel like you're there, I feel like that is something that has the upside to be so freaking cool, and hope one day it is. Joe Schmo says VR for Roman times. So that's what I'm talking about. Like you can travel to the past. I think it'd be really cool. San Diego says, what's the biggest league that you're in, Mason? So little backstory about me. And I've actually was talking about this at the Flock meetup with some of the creators. From 2014 through like, obviously still today, I love Dynasty Fantasy Football. But from like 2014 through like 2019, I was exclusively Dynasty Fantasy Football, playing in every league I could get my hands on, playing in 20 to 30 Dynasty leagues a year with every different league setting you could possibly imagine. Everything but IDP. Literally any weird format that you've ever heard of, I have played in. Anything but IDP from a Dynasty perspective. But for whatever reason, as of late, I've become less interested in stuff like that. I've become less interested in like joining a new Dynasty league with weird settings. And I've become more interested in just getting in a regular fantasy football league, just getting in a regular redraft league. So I don't know if it's like I was just so diehard Dynasty forever, and I just had been in leagues with such weird league settings forever, that the appeals worn off to me. But now what's like most appealing is just like the flock league. Getting in a league where you start 2 wide receivers and 2 flex, and it's just 12-team format. Okay. So Marshawn Lloyd off the board 164. Vidal off 165. We have a bunch of quarterbacks making it to us here, which is very appealing. Now, in terms of the QB stacks we potentially have, we have Watson with Amari. We already discussed we have Geno with Jackson Smith and Jigba. I was actually going to take Stafford for the raw points if he made it to us. But now I think we'd go to Deshaun Watson. I think we go Geno Smith. Pair up Watson with Amari, Geno with JSN. And then in round 18, we can either look at Russell Wilson for George Pickens, or we can look at Gardner Minshew for the combo Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers. But it's weird because I would think like the longer you've played fantasy football and the more you're into it, which I think that there are probably very few people that their lives are as centered around fantasy football as mine. I don't want to say I'm like the most fantasy football centered person in the world, but I can guarantee I've answered. I don't want to say guaranteed. There may be somebody I don't know of. I would go to guess that I've answered more fantasy football questions than any person on this planet. Just doing live Q&As for like 4 hours a night for 200 days straight for years and years and years. So like, I don't think anybody is like as fantasy football centric. Like it's my entire life. It's the only thing I do. And I would think like the further you get into the fantasy football rabbit hole, the more you would like want weird leagues with weird settings. But it almost seems like that meme that's like the bell curve, you know? And I think once you kind of get to the end, it's just like, yeah, regular fantasy football draft. It's pretty cool. It's great. And like the interesting added element that I like is I like doing the underdog drafts because I can do a bunch of drafts and I don't have to worry about them during this season. And I can still stick with like the flock league, the main league that I'm caring about this year. That makes sense. Okay. J-Rob, happy to see us, says, had my draft today, Mason, and you were a hot topic there for a minute. Had one guy said that he couldn't stand you. Had another guy I talked to said he was a big fan, but it was fun. Well, hope you had a good draft, my friend. And everybody will for sure have an opinion, which is a good thing. But thank you, my friend. Parker says, Mason, where did you graduate from and what degree? I graduated, yes. Braden says Texas Horns in Women's Studies, I believe. Yes. I graduated from the University of Texas, and I got a degree in biology, and I got another degree in exercise science. So, right in line with fantasy football. Exactly what you need. Helping me a ton with my YouTube and fantasy football career. Okay. Now, we are still for sure looking for that third quarterback. Could potentially go with Darnold and just say, well, you know what? I think he just dramatically outscores the rest of the quarterbacks on the board. You only really need one big spike for week 17 with any of these options anyway. Morgan says he's a women's studies major. And did I mention he's 6'5" and ripped? No lies detected. No lies detected. Okay. Malachi Corley off 188. DeMarcus Robinson goes 189. I think your boy may end up just taking an unstacked Darnold's and saying we need the points. We'll go Darnold and Marvin Mims. A smart person probably goes Bo Nix and Marvin Mims. But I will say, I don't know. I think probably Sam Darnold scores a lot more points than Bo Nix. So round 18, I think we're going to be taking another receiver. Guys I like Roman Wilson, Josh Downs, DJ Chark. What's the report on Chark? Still missing from practice? He's probably not getting drafted in every one of these. So mixed up some wide receivers that aren't going to get drafted in every one, and then just guaranteeing that we're going to get another receiver. Actually, real quick, are we at 900 likes? I don't even know if we're getting another draft underway. If we hit 900 likes, we are getting another draft going. So if you want another draft, go down there, hit that like button. And please, in the live chat, let me know, are we at 900? Okay. Okay, we hit 900. Let's go ahead and let's get this going. So I have one more marathon draft I can do. So let's go ahead and let's get in the marathon. So if y'all don't know this tournament on Underdog, this is a cumulative scoring tournament. This is a $15 buy-in. This is a $2 million prize pool. First place gets $300,000. Second place gets $150,000. Third place, $100,000. Fourth place, $65,000. But what's interesting about this tournament is and of course, we're pick 9. Of course. Second draft this stream with pick 9. Last night we had 3 drafts with pick 9. I literally think Underdog is trolling at this point. There's no way. There's no freaking way. It is what it is. It is what it is. David in this draft with us at 3. Andrew in this draft with us at 2. Michael knew that pick 9 was incoming. Of course, pick 9. Waffle Taco in this draft with us at pick 7. Driz in this draft with us at pick 11. Much love. T. Jameson says, Jamar spotted at Best Buy buying a new TV to watch the games from this year, Mason. Ooh. Good call for him. Good call for him. Austin in here with us at pick 12. Kaiser in this pick with us at 6. And yes, we are loading up a Big Q pick at pick 9. Big Q is on the way. Coin Coverage says thoughts on points per first down. This is a great example of when I was saying previously, I played in a ton of points per first down leagues in the past. Whenever I was just diehard dynasty all the time, signing up for as many weird leagues as I possibly could be in. Ooh. Interesting. Mr. Jamar Chase making it to us at pick numero 9. We will go with a Mr. Chase. And we will hopefully get a unique combo in this tournament. Let's go. Let's go. Harrison off 14. Nico goes 15. Why, hello, Mr. Barkley. Welcome to the flock. We will add you to the Jamar Chase team, and we will hopefully score a lot of points this season. This draft is definitely a boom so far. We'll give this draft a boom. I completely forgot what I was talking about previously. Oh, yeah, so like point per first down. That's a format that I used to like I'd be interested in. Now I have no interest in playing in a league like that. I have no interest now in playing in a league where you get points per first down. I have no interest now in playing in a league where you get points per carry. Like, I don't know. Infrared says not a boom until you get MVP Anthony Richardson. We'll see, my friend. But, of course, if you wanted to get into a draft with us over here on Underdog, we are drafting every single night on this live stream. This is the best place to get into an extra fantasy football draft before the season starts. And if you hit the link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section, and use code FLOCK, you're going to get my 2024 rankings, draft guide, and ADP consensus cheat sheet. Plus, you will also be getting a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. And a Christian McCaffrey special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for week 1. And a Travis Kelce special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for week 1 as well. So make sure you are taking advantage of that if you have not done so already. Okay. Now let's move this. Jalen Waddle goes 31. This is the furthest I've seen Waddle fall in forever. We'll take DJ Moore. It's an interesting call. I don't know what the right call is. I don't know if taking Smith here with Barkley is any more appealing or less appealing because we have Barkley. I do not know. I don't know. Santiago says, yo, Mason, what's your next favorite thing to do outside of fantasy football? The big hobby that I have right now is triathlon stuff. I was telling my girlfriend that I'm getting ready for another Ironman this year. I'm thinking the Ironman we're going to do in 2025 is probably going to be Brazil. We are looking into it. Looks fun. Flight's 20 hours, so that kind of sucks. But, yeah. My thing that I've been liking is we did the Ironman this year, got into triathlons, had a ton of fun doing it. I'm doing an ultra marathon in November, so we're going to see if that's as fun as the triathlons are. But we'll see. Coin Coverage says, do you sports bet, Flock? No, we don't have sports betting in Texas from where I'm at. I think we will take... Do we take Josh Allen? We'll take Josh Allen. If you do look at Allen, we have a small possibility of getting Keon Coleman at pick 81. Curtis Samuel's been falling. Shakir is not falling, but Samuel's been falling. I think we can get a wide receiver. And in the marathon in particular, I think these elite level quarterbacks could just throw up so many points. Okay. Braden says, a flight seems long until you deploy to the Middle East and are flying 40 plus. For a second, I thought you were saying that a flight to the Middle East was 40 hours. I guess you're flying around the Middle East for 40 hours working. Okay, that makes sense, my friend. I was sitting here going, oh my gosh, I am so bad at geography. I was like, the Middle East. How far is the flight from the United States to the Middle East? Okay. Booty Manon says, is NFL Fantasy not a part of your team review on the Flock website, only showing Sleeper, ESPN, and Yahoo? Yeah, I'm very sorry for the tools to link your fantasy football team to flockfantasy.com. NFL Fantasy doesn't provide any of the APIs for the developers to be able to go through and link between the two of them. So for NFL Fantasy, you'll just have to submit screenshots of the team rather than be able to link directly. Okay. Braden says, no, it is to the Middle East. Organic is military planes. Had to make multiple stops for fuel. Oh, that is brutal. That is brutal. San Diego says, hey, Mason, how many streams in a row are we at right now? I have streamed pretty much every day since May outside of the vacation that we took in June. So I took a vacation from June 10th to June 20th or 24th or something like that. So probably closing in on 100 or so. I want to say. I 100% could be wrong, though. Okay, so at 57, we are going to get Rachaad White. I think White is a fine pick here. If you look at the marathon, the running backs are going to be pushed up with ADP a bit. You have Alvin Kamara up here at 60, right? Which obviously Kamara will fall to around at the end of round 6, the beginning of round 7, in a regular underdog draft. Okay. Elijah says, yo, Mason, when are the week 1 running back rankings coming out? Tomorrow, my friend. Tomorrow. Roma Dunze off 60. Jaden Reed goes 61. When we have Josh Allen, more likely than not, we're not going to take a quarterback here at 64. I think when we only have Jamar Chase and DJ Moore, I probably go receiver. We'll take Kirk. I haven't drafted much Kirk all year, but we have been taking him over the past week, given the fall that he's had in ADP. Probably over the past 2 weeks now, to be honest. So now wide receiver, we have Chase, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Rachaad White. Quarterback, we have Josh Allen. We are going to be hoping that we end up getting like Keon Coleman there at pick 81 to pair up with Allen. If we don't get Keon, there will still be a couple other Bills receivers we can be looking at later. Okay. Pitts off 67. That team at 5 goes 0 receivers through the first 6 rounds. So y'all know I have drafted some teams with the bully tight end strategy on Underdog this offseason. But specifically, those teams that I'm drafting are in structures like Best Ball Mania, where you have the fantasy football playoffs, where there are like unique outcomes in weeks 15, 16, 17. For you to go bully tight end in the marathon probably makes less sense in my mind. And of course, I could be wrong. But also to go 0 receivers through the first 6 rounds, I know it's a different tournament, so maybe historical data is not as relevant. But it does seem like it's so hard to assume that team does anything. I forgot to update the buy-in. This is a $15 buy-in. Not too big of a difference. And that team goes Najee at 77. Wild. So this does mean we should get some pretty strong values making it to us at 81. So Deontay Johnson never falls this far, but I'm not a Deontay guy. We have Josh Allen. We might as well just go ahead and take Keon Coleman at 81. We'll bless the team after us with Deontay Johnson at 82. And then, yeah, I love this team that we have. Cop says, Mason, some dude in my league today got Chase and Jefferson. Is it over for us? I was in the 6th spot, and I'm disgusted about it. If that league has 12 teams in it, your league mates are just horrendous. If it's a 10-team league, still probably pretty bad. If it's an 8-team league, it's maybe understandable. Okay. Massive Audio says, hey, Mason, I was in a slow big dog with you that ended today, and I saw you took Andrews and Likely. I was curious your strategy there. Couple different things. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, and it's embarrassing to admit this on the live stream, is there are a couple slow big dogs that we ended up auto-picking near the end. There were a couple teams that look very tough that maybe got stuck with 4 quarterbacks or 4 tight ends. I think that happened in 2 separate instances. I think I actively took the Likely pick as our 3rd tight end there. It's mainly needing a tight end. And I do think if the rest of the field doesn't have Likely and Andrews, it could lead to a unique unique exposure to Andrews in the fantasy football playoff tournaments, or possibly you get more 2 tight end sets. I just think the price point that I took him at was decent, and I needed a 3rd tight end, if I'm remembering the league correctly. But we will go ahead. We will take Ramondre Stevenson. I'm assuming, and there's no way that anybody in the Flock League is watching this right now. So obviously I traded Danny for Ramondre Stevenson, just because I thought the value was too good to pass up on. I figured I'd be able to easily flip Ramondre Stevenson for an upgrade elsewhere, because I recorded with all these guys. I know they like Ramondre, but they are just being freaking turds and are specifically not trading me Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not trading for Ramondre Stevenson because they don't like the price point that I got him at. They thought I got him at too good of a price. Which, I don't know. Frustrating. I wish they would just take him from me, because you literally look at like week 1. I think the implied team total for the Pats are supposed to score like 16 points. Maybe it's 16, 17, 8, something along those lines. The Patriots are just going to be such a bad offense. Rich says, I feel you definitely won that trade. Yeah, like I said, the value was just too good to pass up on. But I made the deal under the expectation that we were going to be able to turn around and we were going to be able to sell Ramondre Stevenson and flip him. I sent out a couple feeler offers, got nobody even interested. They specifically said, if y'all watched the video on the Flock League channel, they specifically said they knew that I traded for Ramondre because I wanted to give them him, which is exactly what I did. And they said that there was a 0% chance that they were going to trade for him. They were going to leave me stuck with him. Which, it is what it is. It is what it is. And yeah, Team 5's completely dead in this draft. They have no shot. Okay. But let's move this over. They take their first receiver with DeAndre Hopkins 101. It's going to be so funny if that team ends up winning the marathon. They only go wide receiver from here on out. They end up winning it. They can cut back to me going, oh, yeah, that team at 5 is completely dead. So Shakir obviously pairs up with Josh Allen. Curtis Samuel's fallen a ton, I guess, due to the turf toe. Obviously, if any player misses time, they're going to be less valuable in this tournament, because in this tournament in particular, points in weeks 1, 2, 3 matter just as much as points in weeks 15, 16, 17. So a player missing time is massive. So Ford goes 108. Dowdle goes 109. Did we have Singletary news today? Because it seems like Singletary has fallen in every single draft we've been in. I don't want to take two quarterbacks on the same bye, specifically in the marathon. I think if we didn't have Allen with the week 12 bye, Lawrence would have been viable. We could go Curtis Samuel and just go, what if Allen has a nuclear season? I don't know if I like having Samuel on a team with Keon and Shakir. It's more viable in the marathon, I feel, than it would be in BBM. We'll make the boring pick. We will take Devin Singletary. I hope that nothing came out about Singletary that we're missing, because it does seem like Singletary has fallen a considerable amount in every draft that we've been in today. And we've been buying the dip, whether we should be or not. Okay. Chase asking how I can become a mod. I don't know. If I have not made a single moderator all year. So what I have to do to show y'all's comments on the screen is I have to pop out the chat and I have to add a Chrome extension. It does something weird if anybody live streams. I'm sure they know this. But I can't add a moderator there. It can't be the pop-out chat. It has to actually be on YouTube. So since we had this new system, I haven't added a moderator. So we're rolling with the same mods we've had forever. Joshua, welcome to being a member of the flock. Happy to have you, my friend. Happy to have you. Austin Eckler goes 118. Braden says, I have 0 Theo Johnson and I'm sick. Just a feeling he could be good if the Giants are mediocre. Good thing for you, my friend, is the Giants probably won't be mediocre. The Giants will probably be bad. Raphael, if we do make a new moderator, you are one of the first in line, my friend. One of the first in line. Shane Quan Barkley says, prayers up for Singletary. Nothing happened to him. He just plays for the Giants. Yes, I believe we have seen Saquon's burner in the chat now. And yes, prayers up for Singletary. Like, my thing with Singletary is that we've been saying is, if Saquon Barkley was not able to be fantasy relevant, what makes us think that Saquon Barkley will be? I'm sorry, what makes us think that Devin Singletary will be? Okay. Does Jonathan Brooks make it to us at 129? And would we take him as a 5th running back? Or same question with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb goes 124. Obviously, if it was Best Ball Mania, I'd take Jonathan Brooks. I don't think twice. Yeah, A-Rod is also first in line to be a moderator. Schultz goes 127. Teams after us all have a tight end. So I was considering. All right, what are we doing here? Dear God. I actually don't mind Davis pairing up with Christian Kirk, but one thing is in the marathon, I'm not drafting specifically due to bye weeks, but to look at our bye weeks right now, I think maybe we can use them as a tiebreaker. Jamar Chase, week 12 bye. Josh Allen, week 12 bye. Christian Kirk, week 12 bye. Keon Coleman, week 12 bye. Khalil Shakir, week 12 bye. So if we were to go Gabe Davis with another week 12 bye, that would be a very, very tough scene. Okay. So let's move this down. Adonai Mitchell goes 133. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Mooney goes 135. I think maybe we take our first tight end in Frymuth. I was saying in the live stream last night, going, yeah, I'm not the biggest Frymuth fan in the world. I haven't been taking Frymuth much this year. And I pull it up, and I'm like 9% Pat Frymuth. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. I guess I lied to y'all. I guess I haven't taken some Frymuth. I definitely prefer Dallas Goedert at his price in this draft than Pat Frymuth at his. Like, getting Dallas Goedert at 128 definitely feels better than taking Pat Frymuth at 136. But if we were to go with, like, Zeke, then that will be our last running back that we draft. I don't necessarily know if we're ready to commit to that. So we'll just take Frymuth and move on. Okay. Cousins goes 139. Cooks off 140. Cooks has been a big-time faller. Lockett's been a big-time faller as well with his own injury. Okay. Move this down. And I do want to remind y'all, if we hit 1,200 likes on this stream, we are going to get another draft going. So if you have not done so already, go down there. Hit that like button. I think it'll be our 5th draft. We are back to the long grinds of drafts. Jordan Mason off 145. Mason has been a big-time riser. I would prefer Charbonnet. The thing between Mason and Charbonnet is I would expect that you actually get some usable weeks from Zach Charbonnet versus Jordan Mason. I only think he's relevant if McCaffrey were to go down. Where I think Charbonnet, you could get some random spike weeks, even with the healthy Kenneth Walker. Maybe I'm overrating Charbonnet, but I just think Charbonnet is such a good running back. Okay. Tyler Algier off 149. Let's move this over. Don't think we would want to take Rodgers here. Like we discussed previously, if we're only going to take 2 QBs in the marathon, I don't want them to have the same bye. Rodgers lining up the same bye week with Josh Allen. What is Abyss going to do? Goes Baker. So we will take the falling value in Jalen Polk at 153. Getting Polk here as our 7th receiver when we have Chase, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dontavian Wicks, and then Jalen Polk. I actually think that there's a small chance we could be done at receiver in this draft if we wanted. And instead, we could just look at QB, running back, tight ends. Now, I wish if we would have known that Drake May was starting early on this season, I think Drake May could be a viable pick in this draft near the end to pair up with Stevenson as well as Polk and go, what if Drake May is better than people expect? But the issue is with May, If he misses like the first 6 weeks, it's going to be tough for him in the marathon. Bateman goes, good for us to see more receivers off. We could go with an unstacked Deshaun. Could go Ray Davis and just go for the full-blown Bills onslaught. So Rodgers off. We do probably end up getting at least one unstacked quarterback here. If we go Ray Davis, he's our last running back. So instead, we are just going to take Deshaun Watson. And I don't know how well Ray Davis correlates with Josh Allen anyway. Like what you're hoping for with Ray Davis, you're not expecting him to have a ton of receiving volume. Instead, you're expecting him to have the rushing touchdowns. Okay. Austin says, just reach 2 rounds on Quentin Johnson, needed a receiver. If you would have reached 10 rounds on Quentin Johnson, it would have been a good value, my friend. Don't you stress at all. Don't you stress at all. Okay. Bucky Irving, Ray Davis, Isaiah Likely, Josh Downs, all off the board. Geno Smith goes 165. Marvin goes 166. Mr. Pickle Pants says Mason's the Caitlin Clark of fantasy football GOAT. Come on, I am the Caitlin Clark of fantasy football. Great analogy. Great analogy. I'll shoot my shot from anywhere, my friend. It's Barry says Quentin Johnston equals N'Keal Harry. If you look at the historical data, that is true. More likely than not, Quentin Johnston equals N'Keal Harry. Or Quentin Johnston may end up turning into like Rashad Bateman. I mean, or maybe he's as bad as Diami Brown. Funny enough, if you look at his ADP, he actually goes behind those guys. Not Harry, but the other instances of players that have been garbage for years. Okay. So Bryce Young goes 171. Tyler Conklin off 172. So we are just still quarterback, running back, tight ends. Running back, we have Barkley, White, Ramondre, Singletary. So I think we have a solid running back room. Running back room with upside. I have plan A and plan B here at 177. Braylon Allen goes 175. I'm going to take Hunter Henry. Going Hunter Henry, I think, does kind of lock us into potentially Drake May in round 18. We have Polk, we have Henry, we have Ramondre. This team is definitely relying on the Pats to be better than people are expecting. This team really needs the Pats to exceed expectations. I think we maybe end up going for a player that hasn't been drafted in the majority of underdog drafts here at 184. So I have my sight set on them. Based off the receivers that are still available, I bet we actually get the guy that we are wanting. Levis off 180. Next goes, so yeah, we just go another random unstacked Sam Darnold. I think when we have the unstacked Watson, we can't go with an unstacked Darnold. Jonnu goes, so yeah, just quarterback, running back, tight ends. I think Samaje Perine is a solid pick in a large field tournament like this, because if you look at the vast majority of leagues that were drafted, Samaje Perine was not selected. Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the PUP or whatever the list is. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not going to be playing through the first 4 weeks. It's just Carson Steele and Samaje Perine. It sounds like Perine will have somewhat of a receiving role as well. It's a phenomenal offense. So I think going ahead and mixing him in here isn't the worst thing in the world. Anthony says, how many times you got in pick 9? It's got to be 65% drafts. It's been a lot. It is. Like, this is the second time this live stream. I think it was 2 or 3 times last night. We've gotten pick 9 in a lot of these drafts. But yeah, I actually do like our squad right now. Wide receiver, we have Chase, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, Dontavian Wicks, Jalen Polk. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Rashad White, Ramondre Stevenson, Devin Singletary, Samaje Perine. Tight end, we have Freiermuth and Hunter Henry. Quarterback, we have Josh Allen and Deshaun Watson. One thing that I need to get better about is taking just the extra wide receiver here in round 17, 18 when we are in these large field contests. I feel like the issue is I've been doing a lot of the high stakes tournaments on Underdog over the past week or two. I'm sure y'all saw we got in 10 $500 drafts on the live stream this year. And there I'm definitely willing to just play it a little safer, grab the third quarterback because it's a smaller field contest. You don't need to have the crazy high ceiling. But here it's definitely different. Like we have Chase, Moore, Kirk, Keon, Shakir, Wicks, Polk. I think we probably need another receiver. So what we need is we need Chase, Moore to be wide receiver ones. We need the Buffalo guys to crush. We know we're taking a third tight end. Josh Allen at 40. I think we may go with another receiver. Shadaquan Barkley says, any week 17 correlation, though. Week 17 correlation does not matter for a lot of these Underdog tournaments. Does not matter for this one. This is the marathon. Week 17 correlation matters for a very small percentage of Underdog tournaments, which is why I don't talk about it a ton. I'm just there. This is funny. This is Mason, the type of guy to say, guys, we've got company when a bad guy approaches. That's really funny. Okay. I think we just go Juwan Johnson. Sounds like Juwan's going to be fine. We know we need another tight end for sure. So we can take Juwan Johnson, then I can sit here and squirm and figure out if we should take a third receiver or if we should go, an eighth receiver or take a third quarterback. Has there been any Elijah Moore news this year? Obviously, when we have Deshaun Watson unstacked, if we were taking another receiver, it would be preferable if we found somebody that had a role in Cleveland. Let me watch this Twitter clip real quick. So it sounds like he is referencing Elijah Moore. Somebody that does have a role. So might as well we go ahead and take Elijah Moore here in round 18. But it looks like we are not going to get a fifth draft going tonight. Sounds like this will be it, but much love. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Really do appreciate you. And of course, if you want to get into another draft with us, I'm going to be streaming these drafts every single night till the season starts. I would highly recommend to get into an extra draft on Underdog because there's no time commitment at all during the season. So I draft 100 teams every year. So I won $150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. Use code FLOCK and you'll get a Christian McCaffrey special pick more than less than half a total yard for week 1 and a Travis Kelce special pick more than less than half a total yard for week 1. plus a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000, plus my 2024 fantasy football rankings. And Underdog is available in pretty much every single state. You can see the map here, but thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great night, and hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow.